A frigid gust clawed at the splintered panes of Miller's diner, where dawn fought valiantly against a shroud of ashen clouds, painting the world in muted despair. This wasn't just any morning, it was the kind that wrapped around your soul like a leaden fog, draining every hue from existence. Inside, the air hung thick with the acrid tang of overbrewed coffee mingling with the warm allure of butter-slathered toast, drifting through rows of vacant booths like forgotten whispers. Tucked in the dimmest corner, by a window shunned by all but the truly desperate, an elderly woman materialized as if summoned by the gloom. She appeared every dawn, solitary and silent, draped in a timeless ebony coat adorned with a gleaming silver brooch, a delicate feather that seemed to yearn for flight. Her gaze harbored a profound sorrow, the kind etched by a life that had once brimmed with joy, only to be ravaged in an instant. Her name was Eleanor Hayes, and without fail, she claimed the same weathered booth, staring into the abyss beyond the glass. Yet, in this sea of indifference, one soul always took notice. Mara Weaver, a spirited young waitress scraping by on dreams and determination, flashed smiles that could thaw the coldest hearts, no matter how fiercely life battered her own. Unlike her colleagues, who clocked in for mere survival, Mara sought something profound, a spark to reignite her faith in humanity's inherent goodness. Life hadn't been kind to her, oft and young, she navigated the harsh labyrinth of foster care, emerging at 26 with pockets perpetually empty and a spirit unyieldingly resilient. Tips trickled in like reluctant rain, barely covering her cramped apartment's rent, but her heart, it beat with an unbreakable rhythm, pulsing with empathy for the overlooked. Each day, as Eleanor's trembling fingers cradled her cup, Mara felt an invisible thread tugging her closer. This woman, with her quiet dignity amid evident hardship, mirrored the shadows Mara battled in her own solitary nights. Before we plunge into the heart of this tale that proves miracles hide in the mundane, if tales of unexpected twists and soul-stirring kindness ignite your spirit, hit that like button, subscribe to Midnight Tales, and share this with a friend craving a dose of inspiration. Your engagement fuels more midnight magic, weaving stories that linger long after the screen fades. Mara's awareness of Eleanor blossomed 2 months prior, when the elder first shuffled in, ordering nothing extravagant, just a humble pot of tea and crisp, unadorned toast. With deliberate care, she'd extract coins from a threadbare purse, her hands quivering as if burdened by invisible decades of regret. Patrons averted their eyes, some casting pitying glances that dissolved into apathy, but none bridged the chasm with words. Mara, however, was ensnared not by nosiness, but by a raw, unfiltered compassion. Eleanor's isolation echoed Mara's own echoes of loss, the silent sobs in her tiny abode, the ache of abandonment that no paycheck could mend. So, in the quietest of ways, Mara began her gentle crusade. No fanfare, no spotlights, just subtle acts that bloomed like wildflowers in cracked pavement. She'd swap the standard chilled toast for slices fresh from the griddle, steaming with comfort. Tea refills flowed freely, unlogged on the bill. Occasionally, a clandestine muffin would appear on the plate, golden and inviting. Eleanor would protest faintly, cheeks flushing with unease, but Mara would counter with a wink and a fabricated tale, "It's our secret diner delight today," or "Chef's experimenting on the house." They both sensed the fib, yet it wove a delicate bond, unspoken and pure. As mornings unfolded into a ritual, fragments of their worlds intertwined. Mara discovered Eleanor's passion for devouring novels under the soft glow of a lamp, her bygone days basking by the roaring ocean, and a time when laughter came effortlessly to her lips. In return, Eleanor gleaned the grit of Mara's existence, double shifts to fend off eviction, trudging home on weary feet since her rust-bucket car gasped its last breath months ago, and an unwavering creed that kindness, like a boomerang, would circle back someday. Yet, Eleanor's history remained a locked vault. No whispers of former glories, no hints of shattered dreams. It was as though she'd inked out vast swaths of her narrative, leaving only the present's stark outline. Then came the dawn that shattered the fragile equilibrium. Mara approached the booth to find Eleanor's eyes rimmed in crimson, tracks of tears betraying a fresh wound. With tender concern, Mara inquired, "Are you all right?" The response, a fragile murmur, pierced the air. Eviction had stripped her of her humble shelter, consigning her to the mercy of a derelict bus station that night. Mara's world tilted. Without hesitation, she clasped Eleanor's frail hand, a dam bursting within her. Resources were scarce, no nest egg, no wheels, no surplus, but abandonment wasn't an option. That twilight, post-shift, Mara guided Eleanor not to desolation, but to her own modest haven. She rearranged her sparse furnishings, yielding her bed while claiming the lumpy sofa. For the ensuing week, she divided meager meals, laundered faded garments, and scoured resources for raid programs, her actions a silent symphony of solidarity. Eleanor's gratitude manifested in glistening eyes and repeated queries, "Why me? Why this extravagance?" Mara's reply was simple, laced with her own scars. "No one extended a hand when I drowned in need, but I clung to hope that someday, someone would. And now, that's you." Their makeshift family forged in adversity brought fleeting warmth to Mara's often chilly existence, a reminder that connection could eclipse circumstance. But fate, ever the capricious storyteller, twisted the plot anew. One crisp morning, Eleanor's booth sat vacant. Worry gnawed at Mara. The next day echoed the absence, and by the third, dread coiled like a serpent in her gut. Racing home after work, she flung open the door to emptiness. Eleanor's belongings vanished, the bed impeccably smoothed, save for a solitary note on the pillow, "Thank you for reigniting my hope, Eleanor." No farewell address, no breadcrumb trail, just a void that echoed louder than thunder. Mara's heart fractured, the note a dagger of bewilderment and loss. Why the abrupt vanishing? Had peril befallen her? Frantic calls to hospitals and shelters yielded naught but dead ends. Weeks blurred into a month, the diner a hollow shell without Eleanor's quiet presence. Mara soldiered on, but the spark in her smile dimmed, haunted by what-ifs. Then, on a languid Tuesday afternoon, destiny unveiled its grand reveal. As Mara polished tabletops in the near-empty eatery, a sleek procession of obsidian SUVs screeched to a halt outside, shattering the monotony. Four imposing figures in crisp suits, undeniably guardians, emerged, their aura commanding silence. The diner hushed to a pin drop as they strode in, trailed by two attorneys exuding polished authority, their overcoats whispering of opulence. Eyes scanned the room with purpose, igniting whispers among the staff. "Who are they hunting? Smells like drama brewing." One lawyer advanced, voice steady as steel, "We're seeking Mara Weaver." The room's gaze pivoted to her, her pulse thundering like a storm. "That's me," she ventured, voice laced with caution. "Miss Weaver, we've been tasked with escorting you. Explanations will follow shortly." Trepidation warred with an inexplicable intrigue, compelling her to step into the unknown. The SUV enveloped her in luxury, whisking her through the city's affluent veins, gated fortresses, vigilant lenses, emerald expanses manicured to perfection. This was a realm of the elite, alien to her humble orbit. They halted before a sprawling estate, ancient oaks sentinel-like around its grandeur. A bodyguard ushered her in with deference befitting nobility. Within, ethereal piano notes danced through vaulted corridors, leading to a chamber where vast windows framed a winter-kissed garden. There, enthroned in elegance, sat Eleanor Hayes, resplendent in lavender silk, coiffed with grace, her eyes alight with vitality. Mara's breath hitched, a gasp escaping. "Hello, my dear," Eleanor intoned, her smile a beacon. Time suspended as Mara staggered forward, emotions a whirlwind, ecstasy, bafflement, tears unchecked. Eleanor unraveled the enigma with poise. Far from destitute, she reigned as the unchallenged heiress to Hayes International, a colossus in private investments, her fortune a boundless ocean. Yet, tragedy had eclipsed her son, her beloved husband and cherished son claimed by a merciless accident 2 years hence. Grief's maw had swallowed her whole, prompting her abdication from empire and spotlight. She fled to anonymity, questing for authenticity. Did benevolence thrive untethered from wealth's illusion? In her guise of obscurity, Fate introduced Mara, a beacon of purity, extending generosity without agenda, sharing scant resources with boundless heart. Eleanor clasped Mara's hands, mirroring that pivotal Dinah gesture. "I seek no servant, no caretaker," she declared. "I crave a kindred spirit, trustworthy and true. Join me not as staff, but as kin. In time, my legacy shall be yours, not by lineage, but by the unbreakable bond of affection. You've rekindled my zest for existence." Mara stood petrified, sobs cascading like a cleansing rain. For eons, solitude had been her shadow, but here bloomed revelation. Encounters are orchestrated by the cosmos, where a single kindness can transmute strangers into saviors, isolation into intimacy, oblivion into remembrance. They enveloped each other in an embrace that mended fractured worlds. If this narrative of serendipity and soul-deep connection has stirred your essence, pause to like this video, subscribe to Midnight Tales, and pass it along to those yearning for enchantment in the ordinary. Your involvement keeps these nocturnal narratives thriving, illuminating paths with hope's glow. Before we part ways under the moon's watchful eye, ponder this: what singular act of compassion holds the power to reshape destinies? Drop your thoughts in the comments, I'll savor each one. For in the dead of night, a whisper of kindness can echo eternally, forging families from fleeting meetings, love from lingering loneliness, and eternal bonds from ephemeral encounters. Remember, the tales we tell at midnight often hold the keys to tomorrow's dawn.